Hey everyone, and welcome to SkillCapped. I'm the King Live, and today we're going to be talking to you about something that you might have thought didn't even exist anymore, and that is the Frenzy. A couple of patches ago, we all saw the long-awaited nerf to the Frenzy, increasing its price from 400 to 500 credits, making it so players could no longer purchase the Frenzy Light Armor combo. Because of this nerf, a lot of players stopped buying the Frenzy entirely, and many may even think that it's a bad first-round buy now because of that. But today what we're going to be talking about is why the Frenzy is still one of the best first-round pistol buys you can get, and how pro teams are still using it to dominate their matches in Valorant. If that sounds good to you, let's get into it, but before we do, let's introduce our question of the day, which is, which agent do you think is the strongest on pistol rounds in Valorant? Personally, I have to say hands down Reyna because of her heal, but maybe there is some debate to be had over this. Characters like Jett can catch enemies incredibly off guard on pistols, or maybe even having 3 flashes from Skye feels too strong. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Anyway though, as we mentioned before, after the Frenzy nerfs, a large majority of the community decided to stop running the Frenzy on pistol round, and this is incredibly natural for games when things are nerfed. Generally, a nerf to players means that the gun is going to be weak now compared to what it used to be, which is true that the cost reduction did hurt the Frenzy armor combo. They still very much kept the power of the Frenzy itself though the same. This is why you're still seeing an incredible amount of Frenzies on pro teams, and of course it's no longer full teams running Frenzy armor, but still having 3 players on your team with the Frenzy is really saying something about the strength of the gun, and the best part about it is, you hardly even have to aim with it. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have good aim still, it's going to make a big deal when using the Frenzy. However, the best part about the Frenzy is that it's still the most accurate gun on the move in Valorant. They may have nerfed the price of the gun, but you can still very much shoot this gun accurately while full sprinting, and until this is changed, the Frenzy is going to consistently be a must-buy on pistol round. The amount of raw damage output this gun can do while moving is absolutely disgusting. And because you don't need to stop moving when shooting it, you make yourself an incredibly hard target to hit as well, which gives you such a massive upper hand in these duels. On top of this, even though you can't purchase Frenzy armor yourself, this isn't going to stop your teammates from dropping you their Frenzy and you purchasing armor to create a powerhouse of a player in the first round. Take a look at this clip from Wardell where he has one of his teammates drop him a Frenzy and he buys armor. Because of this, Wardell is easily the strongest agent in this lobby for pistol rounds and is able to steamroll through the enemy players by aggressively pushing with his teammates through market. Wardell plays this round very aggressively, knowing that he is going to have the upper hand in pretty much any close range engagement he can take, and because of this, he is able to pick up a 4K on the round. This is the kind of stuff that you saw back before the Frenzy was nerfed, but the thing is, it's still happening right now, and a lot of players don't even realize how strong it is. Now, obviously, in your competitive games, I don't expect random players to just be dropping you Frenzies. However, I want people to understand not only is this an option, but it's a thing that pro teams are actively doing in their games. And before we move on to the next part of the video, I wanted to say if you guys are serious about improving, I highly recommend you check out our hyper improvement system on SkillCapped. We have up-to-date lineups, courses on how to improve with all agents, Smurf commentaries where a higher ranked player walks you through how to carry in your rank, and so much more. Come join over 500,000 satisfied members, improve that KDA, and get the rank that you've always wanted at skillcapped.com. Link in the description below. Now, I've talked about what makes the Frenzy so good, but how exactly do you use the gun effectively? I know it seems like I'm telling you to just run at players with the Frenzy and you'll kill them, which is true in some ways, but try not to be stupid with your engagements still. The Frenzy is the counterpart to the Ghost, and where the Frenzy is very good at close range, it's no match for the Ghost at further ranges. The damage fall off for the Frenzy is 20 meters, and beyond this range, the recoil can become a little bit more difficult to control. Now, this doesn't mean if you get into a fight at this range, don't even bother shooting, of course, but you're going to have to master the tap firing for the Frenzy for fights like this if you can't just avoid them altogether in the first place. This is why when fighting with the Frenzy, the closer to your target, the better. It's also important to remember that the Frenzy is not a shotgun, and what I mean by that is, you still need to aim for the head. Just because I said the Frenzy is a gun you can full sprint with, doesn't mean you should just forget your mechanics. Make sure your pre-aim is good, and then when you swing your targets, swing them hard. This is one of the easiest ways to grab kills on pistol rounds, as players are rarely expecting players to hit them with Ferrari peaks like this, and you'll often catch them off guard. That's basically the rundown on how to use the Frenzy, but who exactly should be running the Frenzy now? And this was actually the intended reason for the price nerf to the Frenzy. Previously, Riot was seeing that basically everyone in the game was running Frenzy armor, regardless of the character, and they wanted to adjust it so that the Frenzy was still a viable gun to purchase, but players have to be more selective of who they run it on or why they are purchasing it. What we're seeing right now is that, just as you would guess, if a player is intending on taking a longer range engagement, such as peeking A long on Haven, they will opt to buy a Ghost. ghost. However, if the player is planning on taking control of a closer territory, they will opt to buy a frenzy. I'm not noticing any crazy correlations between players purchasing the frenzy versus ghost on offense or defense. It really seems to depend on how the team likes to play. For example, it seems like a team like TSM, which is fairly aggressive, really favors the frenzy. However, a team like Sentinels seems to favor the ghost a little bit more. I think at the end of the day, it really depends what kind of player you are. If you're more of a safe precision aimer type player, the ghost is probably going to be your pistol of choice. However, if you're more of a fast-paced fragger type, the frenzy might be the gun that appeals to you the most. For the support agents, unless the first round buy allows you to easily purchase the frenzy, such as agents like Sky or Sova, I probably wouldn't recommend buying a pistol, and would instead recommend going classic and armor. Remember, if you're not on the front line, oftentimes you can count on your teammates to kill an opponent and hope to upgrade your pistol off of that target instead. This way you can focus on purchasing utility to help your team instead and set up for an even stronger post plan. As if you go armor classic to start the round and your teammates pick up a kill and you can upgrade to a ghost or a frenzy off that kill, you're effectively becoming a powerhouse for your team as you're now the target with frenzy armor. However, if you're a frontliner such as a duelist, it might be more in your interest to buy a frenzy because it gives you the opportunity to push more aggressively and hopefully in the end outmaneuver your opponents. Since both the ghost and the frenzy cost the same price, what I encourage you to do is the next time you're going to buy a ghost, instead try buying a frenzy. It might just be the gun for you. When Riot nerfed the frenzy last time, they weren't trying to kill the frenzy, they were just trying to make players think about who they purchased it on and why, and it seems like they really accomplished that. We don't see full teams running frenzy armor anymore, but that does not take away from the fact that it's still very much meta, and we may start to see it even more in the coming weeks. Lastly, remember guys, if you want to win more gunfights, improve that KDA, and get the rank that you've always wanted, then be sure to check out skillcapped.com. Link in the description below. If you guys couldn't tell, I am a massive fan of the frenzy. Personally, I still think the frenzy is pretty busted, and although there is a bit of RNG involved when you run and gun with any weapon, the frenzy is by far the most accurate gun on the move, and it's crazy how consistent it can be. I do feel I should throw a disclaimer in though. If you want to shoot more accurately, the best way to do that is obviously to stop moving. It will definitely happen where you try to run and gun and your shots won't connect, so I don't want players to be surprised when this happens. One last thing I want to mention in this outro though is, although you can run and gun with the frenzy, really try your best not to make this a bad habit. I noticed when I started to abuse run and gun previously with the Phantom when it was a problem, I started building up really bad habits, basically not even aiming when I was shooting at targets. Although you might be able to get a couple cheeky kills here and there, it's probably best you refine your overall mechanics rather than just relying on RNG all of the time. Anyway though, that's going to do it for this video. If you haven't already answered our question of the day, which was, which agent do you think is the best on pistol rounds? Be sure to do that in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for future content. As always, I'm the King Live, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.